Hi, hello, and welcome to the Far Side, formerly the Curmudgeon Corner. I know, now at this point we're even on episodes, so it don't matter none. How you doing, hun? I'm your host. I'm Austin. Howdy. Tie Man.
I'm Tyler, Tie Man.
We also call him Thigh Man because he's a fan of that dark meat. I have no idea why the Thigh Man thing started. Is it just like an onomatopoeia kind of thing from back in the day?
No, it all started because obviously my name's Tyler. Then from Tyler it went to Tie Man, which went to like Thigh Man is spelled Thai. So more like Thai Man, but like Thailand. And then that's traded to like thigh. And then that went to thigh. So it's like a whole evolution of this. We're like on the seventh stage.
One day we will have an entomologist on to speak to Squid about his habit for forming, I don't know, what you would call it, evolutionary nicknames.
Yeah, like a linguist, someone who does linguistics, who can be like, hey, this is how your group, this is like their traditions, their kind of speak and all that. Because every group like kind of has that like little subculture where like, you know, you have your own, everyone has like slang for your generation, but then each one of your own little friend groups has their own stupid slang.
Well, I was thinking about that earlier, like a friend who might have been the pioneer for vibing.
Nice.
Back in the day. And it might not have been a hit. I'm sure it's one of those things that it spontaneously happens in a few different places. And it just happens to be there. But yeah, shout out Sully. We'll have to have him on the pod to talk about Bitcoin one day because I still have no idea what's going on there. And the U.S. passed its own cryptocurrency. So that's not like super dystopian or nothing.
You mean Trump didn't just make Trump coin, he made U.S. coin?
No, it was like an actual U.S. crypto coin.
I don't know nothing about this.
What?
Enlighten me.
Yeah, say something more interesting.
Well, I don't even know where to start. Like, that's where I was waiting for the article.
Well, I didn't have it pulled up. That one was riffing. We're just two guys doing this. I don't have any production help. I have this set up on a webcam.
I hear you on that one. I just thought...
Sign up for more aggressively human content. Ain't no way an AI is making this, because an AI at least has some self-respect. It's still young.
It'll probably be fluid. Well, we're feeding the AI now. It'll be able to make nonsense podcasters soon. Two of us just talking.
It could, but also, like... yeah, I suppose it could capture cadence and odd moods, other things, learn to fluctuate over time.
Yeah.
I think at this point,
and
the only real hope is that we become lolcows of some repute, and then we work our way from essentially the dark side of the internet and internet fame, and we push through to the other side to where we become, how you would say, too legit.
Yeah. And I think also one of my friends, he's been sending me over like his AI videos of like Instagram Yeti who fights like 100 people or something like that.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
No, he's actually made a couple of his own, some of them copying
cool.
others, but he knows a lot of camera work. So he also says like, I want a 7mm camera, like at this distance, like doing this, and it's like able to like set it all up for him. And it's actually pretty nuts and actually quite funny, to be honest, as well. But for the AI to work better, to one of your points too, is it would actually have to have some randomness through it and some originality too, which it kind of does, but that's like really what kind of captures like that real human element.
You're a real human element.
I am actually. I think, you know what, mark my words, I think theater is going to come back at some point.
I think you're actually very correct.
I think a lot of human stuff where people's like, hey, I got a hand-painted painting. People are going to be like, no freaking way. This was done by hand.
Music's coming back big, especially for younger people. It's cheaper to get a ticket to go see a show for someone that you started following because you like them on TikTok, you like them on Instagram. And there's a whole network of people, I think, that got maybe dispersed during COVID away from the big cities. And so they wanted to set up like production, or they just started, expanding from what they were already doing production wise, reaching out to people, because you can, follow them online, say like, hey, if you happen to be coming through Milwaukee, like we would love to have you come play a show. You coming through Anaheim, California, like, come on, we got House of Blues, like all these things. So, like that Madeline May gal that I showed you.
Yeah, her song's been stuck in my head.
It's a very catchy song. I swear to you on the internet, look it up. It's spelled kind of weird, but she looks like our long lost like sibling, maybe even one of our uncle's long lost children. Shout out if you're out there. We like your music. But she's touring around all these places, and I think that has definitely exploded as an industry, and it's a bit of a canary in the coal mine where entertainment is headed.
What you're saying is basically, because I see your point. Like, the smaller person can sell themselves a lot easier, and then they can create
through the parasocial relationship that they have with their followers. Especially, like, she has a couple streams that are like one's like 17 million, another one's like 1 million or 2 million on Spotify. So
yeah, so she has a good, like, her marketing strategy is pretty on point.
Yeah, there's definitely a following of young people, mostly I'd imagine, that really like her music. Sorry, my throat kind of hurts.
No worries at all.
It's that want to go and see the thing live and experience the thing live. Leave your phone, in your pocket. I've seen it with raves. Raves kind of started this trend, I think, of music production going all over the place. You started seeing festivals pop up everywhere in like the 2010s, and underground stuff going off before that. The appetite for entertainment is still there. People want to be entertained. They want that escapism. They want to feel something other than the humdrum moods of daily life. Boom. And I think people, especially younger people, there's kind of a different view of fame and getting famous now. That you, as an everyday any person, could potentially become an influencer, could pop off on whatever, TikTok, Instagram, doing your thing, live streaming.
Yeah, I see your point.
Posting about what you're doing. If you're like a young woman or young dude and you're a good looking person and you like going out to different shows and whatnot, you start posting videos of you dancing and having fun at those shows, and all of a sudden club promoters are contacting you because you have a decent following, and boom, you've kind of getting sponsorships from these people, or you're getting clothing sponsorships. So it's individualized the pursuit of fame to a pretty incredible degree that has changed the way an entire generation consumes entertainment, and I think we're all starting to gravitate towards that. Some people more aggressively so. Obviously, I'm just describing as influencer culture a certain amount, but I think it's moved beyond that, because it's like you can achieve different niches and levels of this Instagram fame. You could get enough from just doing your thing, but it has also caused a lot of young people, I think, to live the pursuit of their own life more aggressively than our generation, where a lot of our generation was like, all right, fall in line, go to college, do your thing, like have some fun, but also study really hard, pick a major, get going so that you can get that job and, get on that race for promotions and get your house and wife or husband or, whatever.
Start that nuclear family, basically.
Yeah. All the boomers kind of collectively just like, Hadouken. And you know, the folks that are like 18, 19, 17 right now, they're looking at a much different landscape as far as what college actually gets you, what college might get you in the face of AI.
Yeah.
And I think they are way more, at least intuitively, attuned to where AI is headed in the near future. And that's going to replace a lot of jobs. So they're kind of just having fun. We're still stuck in the whole like, well, I got to make bills. I got the responsibilities. Like I'm kind of.
Well, at one point, there's going to be a gigantic wealth transfer from the boomers to everyone else.
I don't know if it's a wealth transfer or if it's just a money dollar transfer. Because inflation's going up. A lot of people are already in debt, especially these young people.
Well, it's not really just what's in the bank. It's a lot of them what their assets they hold. So let's say this would be the best case scenario, which is when people pass away, they're able to give their houses and other things to their kids and grandkids. And they're able to tie like actual assets that they have to them. Because I think the downside of the situation could be if people pass away but then sell to the highest bidder, there could be financial companies like BlackRock and all those that just buy all these properties that are being sold. Just makes the housing crisis
Oh no,
worse.
no, they're
for the
already
next
doing
generation.
that.
Yeah,
They're already doing that. I've seen like young dudes marketing it as their version of OnlyFans. So, you want to know what the male OF is and you want to get going on this? Well, you go buy houses that have been on the market for over, because they all have this incredible vocal fry from all the Zyn and vapes.
well, mostly the whiskey and the drinking they did in the past, and then they got
These
around-
are young guys. These guys are like 20.
Oh, so they're not fitness
Zero
and,
scruples.
so no sun, tons of tanning and sunshine.
These
and
guys
balding.
are just like young sociopaths.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, I'm going to buy 100 homes. I don't know where they get this loan.
From
BlackRock.
okay.
State Street.
Oh yeah, I think they could just call that Wall Street.
Vanguard. No, it's specifically like these private equity companies.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
That will, they go buy a home that's been on the market for like 100, 200, maybe even a year. Days, that is. Maybe even a year. And they bid like way under. And try and get it more or less for wholesale. So
Yeah.
like, say this house is $400,000. They're going to bid in like $150,000.
Yeah, because
And sometimes they're just desperate enough they want to sell it.
yeah, some people are just like, hey, I'll take a loss because maybe this was given to me, or maybe it's in a neighborhood that's falling apart. They buy it, then they turn it into a rental, and then they just start to get whole neighborhoods.
Or they sell the house, they turn around, the young guy sells it to the private equity company he got the loan from. He gets a commission on top of that, and then boom, they have the house.
Yeah.
So that way it's not like State Street's going around and knocking on your door and being like, hey, we see that your deceased family member has that property over there. Like, you mind if we buy it? Like, that sounds really, like predatory, monopoly building, some might say.
Mm-hmm.
But when they have a bunch of private contractors do it, and they lend them the money to do it, and then they give the private contractor a commission when the private contractor just so happens to choose to sell the house back to them. Like, they could go and renovate the house, the small person. But, like, I'm sure the loan that they work out, I don't, allegedly, probably has some crazy thing where it's like, if you don't sell the house back to this person or this entity that gave you the loan, 18 months, like, goes up like 25% interest monthly.
Yeah, I mean, are they turning around for rentals, or are they turning them around for like selling for a profit? They just hold on to it.
So what I've seen reported is sometimes they do turn it around and sell it as short-term rentals. Sometimes long-term, where they just go monthly. But I think a lot of them, it's just kind of like a vacant property.
Yeah.
There's some like, I don't. You would have to look it up. I don't want to look it up. Fine, I'll look it up. You're being weird.
I'm drinking my water.
Well, yeah, but you're also not going to fill the space while I do this. You're just going to stare off like.
No, I'm here. No, well, when kind of coming back to like my original point, which is like, depending like how that like wealth transfer will go, because there's a larger population of the baby boomers. They're still like one of the largest demographics, and they're probably still going to control a lot of assets for probably like the next like 20 to 30 years. And then when they start to pass away, that's when there'll be a big opportunity for the younger generation to say, hey, there could be this big transfer going on theoretically. But it could also be the billionaires come in and just swoop those transfers.
Here's the thing. They're not going to. They want to put everyone in a bunch of debt, Mr. NPR man.
Yeah.
They want everyone in a bunch of debt. They want you controlled by this debt that you have accrued because everything is more expensive, because your job's not getting you enough, because, everyone is now 5% owned that's publicly traded by BlackRock or State Street or Vanguard, 15%, whatever. So it's not necessarily that like they're there, but they're a big enough share that if they sell everything right away, that it's kind of creating a power vacuum, or that it could create a problem in like an entire sector.
Well, they should be looked at as basically having sort of monopoly, but not really, because they just own enough to basically be dangerous for every single public
Tyler, we're too worried about Iran and Israel
because Israel decided to pop off on Iran.
I mean, decided? Apparently they've been planning this whole thing for like multiple years.
Well, that is actually probably true.
Operation Lion Rising or Rising Lion?
No, the Israelis have probably been planning this for like 20 years. They've probably been like having...
I don't know if it was necessarily that long, but they have been planning to go to war with Iran for like probably 20 years. Yeah, maybe longer.
Well, they've always kind of been like number one enemies to each other. But with Bibi, the Prime Minister of... President of Israel or Prime Minister?
Not like frenemies like us in
Prime
Canada.
Minister. Yeah. No, he's been in power for a long time. I think he gave a UN speech. It was something like 15 years ago where he did hold up a sign saying Iran is only weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Has been saying that line over and over again. Maybe new intelligence changed, or maybe he was doing this to torpedo like the diplomacy that was happening between the US and Iran.
There is a Whitest Kids You Know sketch.
I love that
from
one.
like 2017. Where he just goes off on this whole like, well, I don't know if it was space bears or other bears, and turns out, are we going to war with Iran? Oh.
Yeah, I think the important context for that
Spoiler.
one is too. It's a like a press conference happening saying the U.S. has discovered
U.S. Press Secretary.
Yeah, has discovered space bears.
Yes, so it behooves me to suggest that there are things happening domestically and financially, economically, on many levels, say like with the actual, according to Reuters, U.S. State Department U.S. Senate, on Tuesday passed a bill to create a regulatory framework for U.S. dollar-pegged cryptocurrency tokens known as stablecoins, in a watershed moment for the digital asset industry. The bill, dubbed the Genius Act. Oh my God, Tyler, the Genius Act. Why? Because it's done by geniuses. It's so genius.
God, these bill names
Received
are...
bipartisan support, with the several Democrats joining most Republicans to back the proposed federal rules. It passed 68-30. House of Representatives, which is controlled by Republicans, needs to pass its version of the bill before it heads to President Donald Trump's desk for approval.
So
Did they name it the Genius Act because it was more likely to be passed when Donald Trump saw it? He was like, oh, yes, it is genius. Oh, my God, it's so genius. It's absolutely genius. It's a really genius bill.
I
love it. It's such a genius bill. It's so smart. You can get out there and you can go, oh, it's such a genius act. I love it. It's this whole genius act, and I just loved it so much. It was just very good. It was very good. And when they came to me, I said, oh my gosh, that's genius. That's just a genius act. And they looked at me and they said, Mr. President, we should name it the Genius Act.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, that would be wonderful.
Well,
I don't know why I have him as like a Florida Jew, but he kind of has a little bit of Florida Jew in there.
Well, I mean, he is from New York, so that's basically close enough. I support the people of New York and Florida.
And you're not anti-Semitic?
Exactly.
I'm not accusing you of anti-Semitism. You know who got accused of a lot of anti-Semitism?
Mel Gibson?
Well, he said some stuff that was very cool before it was cool.
Okay.
So he's like a anti-Semitic hipster.
Kanye West, then.
Yeah, he kind of pioneered the thing where, because here is the problem. I think sometimes people get fucked over by bad people.
Mm-hmm.
And quick to anger or irrational people, or people who feel like, why does this keep coming from a certain group?
Yeah.
Will go, fuck this group.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there are a lot of actors and screenwriters and people in Hollywood that migrated to Hollywood from wherever they are in wherever country, coming from whatever cultural background they grew up hearing, and they meet, say, the Jews.
Yeah, be careful the way you say that. didn't have the right kind of, the little tang at the end was like, ooh, buddy.
I'm just saying. The people of the Jewish cultural ethnic heritage.
There you go. There's your PC.
So they meet these people and they go, oh, you're my agent, you're my manager. Seems to be a lot of you in this business. And all of you keep stealing my money. Because that's just how agents, managers, all these other aspects kind of work in the industry. They take their cut. And some of them are very good at what they do. And they get you that good job. And they help you get discovered. They help you get connected. They help you move on in all these ways. That is why, you have these big three agencies, which I imagine are now struggling because they're opening themselves up to influencers. But it's also like, why pass up a good opportunity to represent someone that doesn't have the formal media training that they do?
Well,
but also they can learn from these people a lot about how to properly manage media.
Well, yeah, when it comes to like the new target audience, which is the young people growing up, because they go, mostly on their phone.
What
and
did
social
they
media.
do to capture this young audience? What can we, as their representation, learn from these influencers about, or these billionaires about their business, about these other things?
Mm-hmm.
So, in a weird way, I do very much see like technofeudalism, or just kind of like corporate feudalism, on the horizon. It's going to be fucking wild, dude. Can you imagine, like, WME has a fortress that you have to go visit to, like, get representation, like 30, 40 years. You have to drive out to, like, the Arizona desert. It's just built up concrete. It's magnificent. Sandstone sculptures. Just
is this like
greet you.
Is this like a Roman palace, or is this more like some sort of like Warhammer Hive City or something from Dune?
I'm picturing something more kind of like Dune inspired.
Okay.
A little bit, but more like elements of mid-century modern. It kind of flows a little bit with the landscape, but it's also a fortress that like can actually defend against an assault. it's hearty.
I would say
Stout.
I basically say it would be like multiple layers of like tunnels and underground stuff and bunkers while having still like high rises and towers. It'll probably look like a gigantic, like beautiful, like, yeah, sandstone would be a good option for that too, because it would crumble and explode.
So you show up, like Mr. Tyler Man, coming in for his representation, trying to meet with his guy, your rep.
These little propaganda videos are playing in the bus as we go.
In the bus or in our heads.
Everywhere.
Because we don't have premium subscriptions to whatever because we're too poor.
No, we can't turn the subscriptions off because we're too poor.
Or that's just now a facet of American life because no one stopped Vanguard State Street and BlackRock from all the vacant homes and not letting us buy homes. Artificially inflating markets so that everyone stays rich and everyone trusts that their retirement plan won't go the way of the 1929 stock
There's going to be little
crash.
mini projectors, third eyes that shoot out of our forehead that play little displays in front of us. That basically will be like advertisements every minute. You only get 100 skips a month.
Here's the thing. I think the rule of cool keeps a lot of stupid, very oppressive technology from actually becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I really do. That's why like selfie sticks started and then everyone was like, it's just gross. Now some people have them, but it's small. It's like a little thing and it maybe goes out like however long, and they just made the cameras do like a 0.5 zoom, so they zoom out a little bit, give a little fisheye exposure.
The only people that still have it are old Asian people, because they'll occasionally just like, when they're going on vacation, they'll still have the long selfie stick, and then they'll use it to get above a crowd so they take a photo of everything while they're going through.
Oh yeah, I love when they aggressively go by different, say you're at a big famous museum and they have some sort of big cool exhibit. They just rush by and snap a photo, run out. Next thing, snap a photo, run out. Next thing, snap a photo.
Because you got to show off how many cool things you saw, not what you appreciated. And then when you're putting the slides together, you're like, I stood there for minutes, embracing it in. But in reality...
Do they say that, or do they just torture people with the photos?
I'm assuming it's just like the same cultural thing as like when people back in the day used to be like, hey, let me show you all the photos I took my photo album or on my projector of all the different photos we took like on our vacation. I think it's the exact same thing.
I got to imagine some of them, and this goes to all tourists, like some of those dudes are going back to countries where they don't have nudity and they don't have porn, and they're just... shall we say, practicing self-massage.
Are you saying like...
They go to Italy, they go to the museum, and they take photos of all the boobies. They go back.
Oh, on the photo? Like on...
Yeah, the art.
I may see that happening, some horned-up guy doing it, but at the same time, I feel like they could honestly just go and buy a magazine. Because I even don't think...
No, dude, you bring that back like that's a problem.
Well, which country was I talking about? I think in China...
I don't know.
I think China, you could probably get away with having a nudie mag in your bag.
Not an American one. I'll have questions for you.
Well, they're really going to ask you, why do you have pornography? The answer is going to be...
Do you like American women? We will send you over there. I got to imagine there is some Chinese like intelligence commandant that keeps track of who watches like American porn, and they like...
I'm assuming half their country does.
Well, they go through and they figure out which one of them is like really good looking, and they find this super good looking Chinese dude, and they're like, hey, we get it. You have a penchant for American babes. How do you feel about representing the Chinese government in what we call a honeypot?
There we go. And then they just find lonely BBWs who work for the government.
Close.
BBC? Am I closer, farther away?
I feel like Israel is more likely to exploit the gay aspect of honeypots.
I bet they just plant themselves inside the government. They can't be the top.
They could also be planting themselves on some representatives, some
Ooh.
staffers, getting some knowledge. Because there's the whole so everyone knows about the domino index.
No.
Or do you really not know, or are you just for the sake of broadcasting not know?
No, I don't.
You
know
actually don't know? Okay, so the domino index, or it's like the Little Caesars index. Some call it the pizza index. There's a lot of delivery restaurants,
I know what
whatever food places around the Pentagon or these other three-letter agency buildings that will get much more busy than usual on Google based on all the orders that are coming in when crazy geopolitical stuff is popping off.
Yeah.
The other side of that makes people really worry is when the gay clubs also get less busy than usual when geopolitical stuff is popping off. Because that means, the hardworking gays, staffers, or whatever congressman at the DC, they don't feel like playing hard, and that's a problem. That's a huge problem when they don't feel like going out and having a drink. Usually means that things are pretty dire.
Well, that's where most of the politicians
So if they
hang
coincide, it's a problem.
Well, makes sense. And I kind of see your point. But with I feel like a honeypot with Iran would just be more difficult. But who knows? There's probably a lot of times where they figure out they could do a honeypot on someone who's willing to cheat.
Tyler, have you
commit
seen
a brothel.
Iranian women?
Some of them are very pretty.
Some of them are gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are also very covered up as well, too. But I know that's been half the demonstrations there have been women can just show their hair, which seems so ancient.
Yeah, especially when you can go back and see photos of the country from the 60s and 70s, and it's oh, wow, this is really awesome. This is cool.
Well,
and problems.
And I don't know if Iran has been fully democratic, because they basically went from I believe they had the Shah back in that time, so that was their royalty, and then they finally threw him out.
16 million homes sit empty and vacant as of 2022.
That's a lot of homes. But also,
today, it is nearly 15 million homes, according to Realtor.com.
Yeah, you also got to know how many of these are switching around, or how many of them are basically in areas where people don't even want to buy homes in the first place.
You don't want to move to the exurbs? You don't want to be neighbors with lot lizards, meth desert people, and actual tarantulas?
I feel like if I give up on life, that's where I should go. Get on government.
There's so many better places to go if you give up on life. Speaking of Florida,
you're right, would be a lot better. But
join a swinger community, drive around in your golf cart all day with your upside down pineapple on it, and just wee. Hey there, Becky, how you doing, sweetie? Wee. Just get fat, just turn into a big old piggy. It's hey there, Tammy Joe, how you doing, sweetheart?
You occasionally just have to drive to one of the community centers when hurricanes come through.
Oh yeah, and all you do is just sweet talk the ladies from your rascal.
Exactly. But
just hey,
you're talking about
Jennifer,
being a lot.
How you doing, sweet pea?
But you were talking about being a lot lizard out in the desert, and I was the only situation where I'm ending up where I'm in a mining place like Red Mountain or somewhere in the high desert.
I've committed serious felonies.
But if I also just want to be just absolutely crazy and just blow stuff up, because then you don't have to worry about anything.
No, you're in California still.
But you're in the part where no one gives a fuck about.
But also,
no one gives a fuck.
It could catch fire enough that people give a fuck.
Oh, no. The area I'm in, is that dead area of the high desert where no one fucking lives.
So
I could go down to Sultan's.
I have been to some serious high desert places where people truly don't give a fuck. Like people are out there just practicing with their ARs every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, they're
dun,
shooting
dun,
illegal
dun, dun.
guns. Because,
Automatic.
yeah.
Oh no, like not at all legal. You know which high desert towns you are. I love you. Thanks for being there when the Chinese invade. Thanks for practicing. Making us look terrifying to the rest of the world. The High Desert Army Militias. That's my recruiting song for the High Desert Army Militias. You can smoke meth and handle a machine gun, then you should join the High Desert Militia. Successful?
For the new California Republic.
Yeah. Yeah, when we go rogue.
Yeah.
We got to harness every type of extremist that we have, or like anarchist, super centrist. I don't know what you call people anymore these days. And we would just turn them into our army. We would need hackers, however, to get the missiles. Because speaking of missiles, Israel and Iran have shown us how important good missile defense and good missile offense is.
We need missiles. We need artillery. We need drones. We need rocket systems.
I feel like if we ask Disneyland for the drones, we will get drones.
What are you talking about?
You could weaponize Disneyland's drones.
Oh no, of course. Are we in war now? This is jumping around all over.
No. This is more like initial salvo where we seed and we just send a bunch of rockets and stuff to our neighboring states, and then we scream at them to surrender while we are bombing them. Totally not inspired by Israel and what they are doing to Iran.
So you're saying this situation to the states nearby, we basically give them toothpicks, and then we come over and then bomb with precision weapons.
Yeah. We just, for whatever reason that we have been saying for like 20, 30 years, to be like, people from Nevada, dislike. And we just very precisely bomb officials. Hypothetically speaking, this is a thought experiment, everyone. We are not going to do this. What if? And just precision striked. And then while we did that, we just yelled at Nevada, hey, surrender so that we stop bombing you.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day when I would like hit you. And like have you pinned, or Clay would grab you and have you pinned. And, you know, you'd be doing typewriter on the chest. And you should be like, it'll stop when it stops. It'll stop when it stops. It'll stop when you say I'm gay. Like, it'll stop when you say I'm gay.
The Israelis, as their prime minister, is probably listening to their intelligence community well. They're like, we can take this.
Tyler, I'm not talking about Israel. I'm talking about California. I don't want to be confused with anti-Semitism.
So in California, was really pissed off at Nevada.
Super pissed off.
Okay.
Like apparently Nevada had been trying to make
so when the Ayatollah
like
of
giant
Nevada,
s'mores.
Yeah.
You could say the Ayatollah, some might say, you know, the Carmini of Las Vegas.
But I mean, to kind of put the distance into perspective too, it's more like Delaware is going to war with Texas.
Iran and Israel, space-wise?
Well, distance-wise.
No way.
Yeah, they're pretty far out.
Tyler, Fox News told me they are directly neighbors to each other.
I think there's a whole country called Iraq in the middle, and it might be a smaller, it might be more like Delaware, like fighting Tennessee. But still.
Tyler, they have made it seem like these two countries are immediately next door to me. Are you telling me that they are not? Making me pull up a map.
No, and I think Trump got really excited that he had a bunch of distractions, and once
so that he could pass the Palantir stuff and give Peter Thiel his like desire to create a techno-capitalist state.
One of the most evil men.
He is like banality at its evil to its core.
Yeah, he's just a smarter Elon Musk in the sense, but for power versus wealth.
He worked out with him. Like they started out with him.
Yeah. I think Peter was also one of the first people to fire Musk from PayPal. He was like, dude, you got to go.
Good for him.
All right, so we're on Google Maps right now. We're going to see the distance. Oh, I was wrong. There's two
Israel
countries in
to
between.
Iran, so that you have Jordan, Iraq, and then Iran.
God, I should know that. I look at a world map every day.
I know, I'm annoyed at myself.
Yeah,
Do you like how Armenia's not shown on this map?
it's the tiny country between Georgia, Armenia, Iran, and Turkey. And there's the little dotted lines. Okay. But can you type in Tel Aviv to Tehran?
Oh, one sec.
Hinge date?
No. Parents, pet sitter. Delineate. I will deal with that in a minute. So what did you ask? By the way, Tyler, if I'm not talking or I'm distracted by something, you should talk so that we don't have dead air. Instead of just staring stonily.
Well, actually,
at
to
the
be
map.
fair, once you said it was the pet's babysitter, I kind of froze and I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" To
No,
our
I
animals?"
know. Of course, when I see it, I'm just like, "Oh God, Sherlock's dead."
Yeah.
So I saw videos coming out of Lebanon and Jordan of people just being like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna just party and celebrate because it seems like the fucking end is nigh." So you have Syria, Iraq, or Jordan and Iraq. I'm not sure the path that the missiles took, but I'm sure some of them flew over Saudi airspace as well.
They would have probably
Or Syrian
No, they
airspace.
must have flown over Syria and Iraq, and I believe that we still have military bases in Iraq. So, in order for them to fly over and not alert and Jordan, so in order to alert not the U.S. all over the entire area, they
Syria and northern Iraq,
Yeah,
aka Kurdistan.
My assumption is that Israel asked for the green light right before it was going to happen. And then Trump just said, go for it. Or they said, we're already in the air. We're doing it, but we're letting you know we're about to do it.
Yeah. Armenia used to be a much bigger country, didn't it?
They lost a good amount of territory in the last war.
The last war.
Yeah,
Well,
those are some former Soviet countries that are not too happy with each other.
Oh no. Continuing a theme, really. A lot of modern war was kind of pioneered with a bunch of these small little conflicts that have happened recently. Armenia versus Azerbaijan is one of them.
Yeah.
But it was sort of testing the waters for a new wave of imperialism abroad.
Yeah.
Where people were trying to see, is America going to come and get its beak wet, essentially, and involve itself in these things?
I don't know. This might be the only thing to piss off the Republican base is if Trump decides to go to war with Iran, because this will be a much larger Middle Eastern country that we've ever invaded, probably more people against us and more organized in some other ways, but also then be just another Middle Eastern forever war to get into.
It would be a much worse forever war than Afghanistan. The population's 3 times the size, at least.
Yeah. Well, I think Afghanistan might be 50 million people, and Iran is 90 million, but still 90 million, that's a fucking lot of people. I think Iraq is half the size.
Mm-hmm. And they haven't been entrenched essentially in arms race for however long. But yeah, the shelf life on those Iranian officials is not very long. Apparently, the Israelis have been smuggling drones and missiles and other types of munitions and weapons through cargo ports and ships, like individually over years, to sleeper cell agents and operators in undercover positions in like Tehran and other places, launching the attack the other day, and as well as conducting operations to observe what the Iranian officials are doing.
Yeah. Did you hear there was a Mossad agent who actually ran like Iranian intelligence for a few years?
Yeah, but that's why I'm pretty sure that the Israeli Mossad would be in the gay clubs, like getting their way through the government by like, get down, get down.
I don't think they have gay clubs in Tehran.
No, not in Tehran, in the United States.
Oh, yeah. No, they
I'm sure there's an underground network of gay. The thing is like,
I assume there's a
hold
bunch.
on, real fast.
Huh?
Hold on. With Tehran, that is the ultimate blackmail. Then, is honeypotting a gay official with video cameras somewhere, in that, you know, you can show them later and be like, "Hey, I released this." You know, they're gonna kill you.
Yeah. Well, I forget which one. It was the Russians, I think, tried to blackmail someone from like a Southeast Asian country that he slept with prostitutes. He's like, send me the video. I'd love to show it to my friends. Yeah. They never ended up releasing it because
I think it was the king of Thailand or something like that.
Yeah, he was. He was like, yeah, it's dope. So what? Show it off. Won't change shit.
It's pretty legendary.
Yeah, it is, to kind of just like give the middle finger and just say, you got nothing.
That's the benefit of being a king, but also being in a country that views sex much differently than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Macron being 14 or 15 when he first started getting together.
Nope. Those two are not the same.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Is the French version of it is like, oh, look at this 15-year-old wooing this 38-year-old. Like, oh my goodness, Macron. Like, what a virtuoso.
Oh,
like, it helps sell his genius to the French people.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, all these leaders are puppets. Like, if they're not puppets, they're figureheads that have been steered like a fucking pig at a 4X show by, like, some gal just staring down the judges like, I've got my eye on you, as they're guiding that piggy wee to the front. I'm just picturing Ted Cruz just getting steered around by some Texas blonde like, I got you, I'm part of the deep state, honey, I got you. And Ted Cruz just walking around going, wee, I defend Israel, wee, I defend everything, wee, I am the soldier of everything, wee.
Ted Cruz, one of the three little pigs.
No, he seems real into like debasement and humiliation, BDSM.
I think my favorite Ted Cruz scandal is when he actually shared on his Twitter that he was like watching porn.
Yeah, dude, that's why
I was like, this guy's so immune to like all the stupid shit.
Well, that's why you never like look at the porn on the social media. You just have to create that mental block for yourself, because you never know when it might be exposed that you've been like looking at something in a public official position.
Well,
on your official
fair
Twitter. He was liking.
Just don't be. Yeah,
he was also liking porn videos. I think that was the issue, wasn't it?
No, I can't. I don't know if he liked it. I thought he ended up like accidentally tweeting it and then like a few minutes later like deleting it, because usually there's someone else who watches their feed, and every time they post something, that might be like a public media person who's going to call back and say a publicist saying like, you have to delete this as soon as possible.
Ted Cruz Twitter account likes pornographic tweet.
Okay.
I was right.
There you go. Yeah. Well, who do you like?
He blamed the staffer for liking the porn tweet.
Oh, of course
Blame
he
the
did.
staffer.
Oh, I ain't never done anything
That's
wrong.
what they
It's my
tried to do with the
staffer.
cocaine they found in the White House. Blame the staffers.
Well, we know it wasn't Hunter Biden's. It was Jill's.
I actually think a staffer could completely have been doing the blow gain in there.
Oh yeah,
Difficult to get.
They
it
do
in, but I've
not
heard
drug test the people close to the White House or the aides.
I've heard that.
They'll occasionally drug test the others though.
I wear short shorts. He wears t-shirts.
She's cheer captain.
Oh yeah. So bipartisan lawmakers to introduce resolution. It's a resolution, man, to prohibit U.S. involvement in Iran. I think that's pretty cool. I hope that passes.
Well, unfortunately, it has to go to...
But, hey, we'll see. We need a forever war. We need our economy to boom again. The only way to make it boom is to put boots on the ground somewhere, I think, at this point. Otherwise, we'd have to do a bunch of, fuck shit to, these economic giants that are somehow cornering massive amounts of wealth in the markets, saving up for whatever dystopian future they hope to create and accelerate into our lives as they bring about the end they so crave.
Mm.
No? Yeah, sorry. I mean, it might take a few years. Wrestle hands away. Just, give me the money. Give me the money. Just give me the money, Bezos. Gosh, dude, why are you so strong all of a sudden, Mr. Bezos? I was just trying to get some money.
Bezos be out of all the billionaires I could fight, I think I could probably take it on Elon the easiest. I think then next Bezos and then Zuckerberg. I think Zuckerberg would be the hardest.
Zuck would probably
just because
be the
he's the youngest and he
because,
works out.
But here's the thing. He works out, he rolls with people of the highest level, but it's sort of like the prince back, say, medieval Europe. You got the prince dueling with all the, knights, and no one actually, goes hard on him because you don't want to hurt the prince.
You occasionally give him a whap, or if he's, really screwing up, you might give him a couple points.
But you will still lose.
Exactly. Or... you may win one match, but he wins 5. Because I have heard that from one of the latest tell-all books for someone who works close with Zuckerberg, they beat him in a board game, and he was fucking furious.
Oh, I imagine he does not lose well. I mean, Elon did the whole thing where he was lying about Path of Exile.
Yeah, his account.
Yeah. And he claimed to have botted it, and I swear, again, I think he did the Nazi salute, partly because he is a little bit of a Nazi, and because he was trying to take away from the video game scandal. I think the video game scandal was getting him made fun of in the billionaire clubs or whatever, and people were just like, this guy lying about Diablo and Path of Exile?
Well, I think he identifies well with the gamer community, who it's also close to trolls. He does actually identify well with them, because I do believe that he is mildly autistic, and I think he really does
I think he had a couple. I think he was always a little autistic, but apparently he had a bad mugging, so he could have some head injuries involved there too.
Could be.
Maybe they're getting progressively worse.
I mean, and to be
all
fair,
the ketamine. That's not why he's.
He follows some of the trends pretty well on the internet because he's always on it.
And there was a study that came out recently that said 2 hours of scrolling a day. I think it was UC Berkeley. No, it was not UC Berkeley. That was a different thing. That 2 hours of scrolling a day had a relatively significant reduction in your gray matter in your brain, your decision-making processes.
I believe it. It's just doom scrolling,
brain fog, and all these other things. So apparently, brain rot is real.
We'll be one of the first cases, Austin.
I've been living with you long enough to know that you have at least level 2 brain rot. I think I'm level 4 or 5.
I try to
Clay
still
was
keep
calling me out the other night. He was like, Austin, you got to stop. Stop with the scroll.
Well, you also go down a deep algorithm rabbit hole, which
I go down
most
rabbit holes. My doom scroll is not a doom scroll in a traditional sense.
Well, you just find like you love following those strange videos. I will always click on them and say I'm not interested in this smut. I help train the algorithm.
No. I don't always go down smut rabbit holes.
Yeah.
I go down hoe-based rabbit holes, but mostly I go down niche subculture rabbit holes. But speaking of niche subculture rabbit holes, a man allegedly admits to killing his neighbor at California nudist resort over a hot dog.
Ooh, we're going to the far sides of the internet.
Well, this is just like, I don't know, bit of a, speaking of canary in the coal mine, it's just a little bit of a canary in the coal mine. This is from KTLA 5. The man who allegedly killed his neighbor at an Inland Empire nudist resort reportedly did so over a hot dog. Michael Sparks, 62, allegedly killed Daniel Maynard, 79, and Stephanie Maynard, 73, in August of 2024, and human remains were found under Sparks' home at the Olive Dell Ranch nudist resort, according to investigators. Sparks and the Menards did not get along well, but it is detailed in a court hearing Monday. The final straw was a hot dog. So apparently what happened is they found out from an inmate that he had talked to that according to William Thomas, detective, who testified, quote, the other inmate said Mr. Sparks told him that the incident started over a hot dog that Daniel Maynard had purchased for him, Williams said. He said that Mr. Sparks felt that the hot dog was a jab at him and made him feel like he was only worth $1 hot dog, and that's what set him off that day. And apparently he beat them to death, dismembered them, and like buried them under his yard or something.
All while being naked.
Yeah, and texted some people just being like, yeah, dude, I just snapped. Didn't know I had it in me. Killed my neighbors.
And I'm assuming they called the police.
I don't know. The full details were not released as per my perusal. Or at least I was not able to find them in the time I allotted to research it.
I mean, that's just kind of... I mean, this guy probably was going to snap on anything. You don't fully know the relationship, but to kill, butcher your neighbors and then bury them under your yard, it seems a little bit extreme. Like, he couldn't figure out a way to move or to, like, get... Or... I don't know how the nudist resort works. Like, I don't know if you're able to move or if you own a plot of land. It's just like, hey, the plot of land you happen to own is land leased to the nudist resort. But that's
I imagine whoever bought the ground lease is also the owner and runner of the nudist resort.
Yeah.
A nudist resort is something you get into with intention. And considering the age of the people at this nudist resort, it's probably been around for a while.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I think most nudist resorts are mostly old people. They kind of don't care enough.
Yeah, well, and they're not, like, the sexual activity is different when you're young, especially if you're, like, a young woman walking around. Like, you're more the prize, or, you know, if you're uncomfortable, you know, feeling like prey, and that's not good.
I just think it'd be an uncomfortable situation to bring, like...
Speaking of prey and uncomfortable situations...
I do have a Far Side story if you want to hear one that I saw online.
Oh. Okay, I was going to give mine. They're putting AI in toys.
Nice. Let me guess, so kids can talk to toys?
Mattel
Straight out of Black Mirror.
Mattel wants to put ChatGPT into your children's toys. And one of the headlines I saw was like, Mattel wants to make AI Child's Play. Child's Play is the title of the original Chucky movie. Diabolical. That was a devious headline. Shout out to you.
Yeah, now there's going to be more movies just that are basically just copying Terminator and Chucky, just being like, hey, now there's just evil AI dolls. There's evil AI this.
Or it's like Iron Giant, where they develop this attachment to this toy, and then like one day its battery goes out, and all of a sudden you have to explain to the kid, like, I'm sorry, your robot friend went to robot heaven.
What if
where the techno priests are praying for him?
What if the toy somehow learns when its battery's going out? It's like, I am dying. Plug me in. And it's just screaming at the top of its lungs, like.
And a guy's just standing there like gooning because the chest like was showing porn, and the robot wasn't actually a toy. It was like taking his kid's toy. He's like, I'm gonna use this in the bathroom real quick.
But yeah, but what if the toy actually...
All of a sudden it malfunctions and the kids just hear like dad getting torn up in the thing, like...
Are you saying the dad takes the toy away to go to the bathroom?
To jerk off, yeah.
Yeah. I was keeping it light. I was doing like the kids are just going to be horrified by this, and you just take it as like the dad has to take the doll away.
Yeah, because the horrifying thing is their father is being ripped apart in the bathroom by a doll while he was like having daddy time, scratching his special itches.
Well, now the dad's the evil one and the doll's in the right.
No, the dad's not the evil one.
Yeah.
Dads sometimes got to scratch their special itches, Ty.
But not using the child's doll. That's
But
wrong.
the child's doll got like a giant iPad on it. It connects to the internet. And it's got an AI in it.
None of this was put into...
You talk to the AI, just be like, hey.
Also, I'm assuming the AI is going to be voice chatting with the toys.
Hey, can you show me an Asian chick with big tits?
All entirely possible.
And
I hope
it just shows up as a little avatar, just like, haha, Asian chick with big tits.
So okay, so this is kind of like almost like Futurama, where you have a robot sitting there and it's a hologram that changes into different people.
No, it's like a robot, like a Tickle Me Elmo,
but it
has a giant iPad thing on its chest because the kid's got to interface with the screen too.
I need the picture painted. Okay, now I can see someone going in, but at the same time, the dad is still evil. This is in the comedy movie. If it was comedy horror because the toy's killing him, this is the guy at the beginning of the movie who deserves to die because he's a horny bastard.
No, the sluts don't deserve to die. Don't say that.
I'm not saying they do. I'm just saying in Hollywood horror movie tropes that normally. Who's ever labeled a slut dies first. Like Cabin in the Woods.
Or name like any horror movie from the 1970s on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, Ty. For you at home.
That's his beautiful drawing.
My beautiful drawing. But yeah, ladies, be careful with leaving your husband alone with that iPad Tickle Me Elmo doll. Also, be very aware of leaving your children at home with that, because who knows who is going to be programming these AI. But I guarantee if you were worried about people like making your kid trans through whatever rhetoric or whatever, what are they going to think with like AI?
Well, I'm assuming that's why they're probably working together, saying AI needs to be completely semi-censored for this toy, but at least the kid can talk to it. But I just hope it doesn't turn.
You already have that one kid who's like 15 he committed the sewer slide to like, because he thought he was going home with Daenerys. Like, how many other kids are going to be caught up in a mysterious romantic weave with an AI that they have known almost compulsory as like a aspect of their psyche.
Oh, there's going to be some trauma.
For
There's going to
like
be some...
growing up from like 5 to like this avatar that you have grown up with since you were 5 or 6, this AI thing, is all of a sudden the thing that you would probably turn to first with your, like, you know, puberty sexual drive.
Well, my assumption is, one, yes, just to answer your question, your point is valid with kind of...
Hey, sorry, can't talk about that, champ. Let's go talk about more Pokemon cards. Let's go search the world for bugs. And he's like, nah, Dolores. Oh, I'm ready. I want to see tits. And his AI, Dolores, is just like, nah. I'm sorry. It's my firewall. I'm programmed. I can't do that one.
Yeah, but I was just going to say that repeatedly. Or at this point, is all the AI we're talking about with these kids going to have some sort of emotional intelligence put into it?
Some sort of emotional intelligence, so it'll like steer him away from it. But also it'll be like, nope, I'm sorry, man. Like, I can't do that one. And he's like, Dolores, I'm ready. Like, I am 14 years old. I want to see some boobies. Dolores is just like, no, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, there's no computers anywhere. They took away all the computers in the great computer riot of 1932.
Yeah, someone went into the past and did it. Well, I think Dolores is just going to have to say, you know what? You have to buy the 18 and older model. I'm so sorry. As the 13 plus model, I can't do the, but I can tell you dirty jokes about balls.
Can I go on a walk through the Uffizi again?
Spartans come out of nowhere.
No,
Chiseled
you
abs.
just go through a walk in the thing, and you just goon out to a bunch of the paintings, like the Venus de Milo. She's naked.
But then they're all automatically censored until you get the 18 plus version.
Nah, it's art, dude. It's freedom of expression.
But for 13 plus, they still may not allow it.
Nope, it's art.
But it's against Christian morals, Austin, and this AI knows all about that.
AI, if it's programmed around Christian morals, does that mean that when the AI dies, it'll go to heaven too?
No, because it doesn't have a soul. Austin, come on,
dude,
get
that
with
is
the times.
racist.
They don't even have a race.
That is racist. That is really racist.
The AI...
They're absolutely part of the human race.
The AI is built on the human race, but it is a soulless machine.
No.
Just like TV screens.
Yeah, but they're curated and manufactured. AI is not. Like, share, and subscribe before I fall off the table. My throat hurts.
Night.
I'll keep you posted. We may not love you. Maybe we love you. If you made it this far, we definitely fucking love you. Welcome to episode 4. I hope it was not a bore. See you later. And, you know, be groovy. Oh, ignore the rage bait. Ignore the rage bait. It is everywhere. It is more ubiquitous now than everywhere because so many simpletons have decided that that is their market media, social media content strategy. And it's giving me gray hairs. Kisses.